Good afternoon. It is February 16th, 2026. You're listening to a little column A, little column B, hosted by Willie and Alimonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How are you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? I have a story for you. It's an Olympic story. I think it is one that maybe hasn't come across your desk. There's a Slovak man. He's a fugitive. He's a fugitive from the law. He stole some stuff 16 years ago. He has been on the run 16 years. But when you need your hockey fix and your boys are playing, sometimes you gotta go. This man, unnamed, he gets caught. He doesn't even get to the game. He gets into I think he's at like a campsite, and he used his real name. So I think he thought, oh, I'm at a campsite. I'm just gonna have my cash only situation. Oh no, name gets run through the registry. He gets caught. Is there a sporting event that when you've been on the run for 16 years that you would throw it all away for and go, I gotta see this team play. I have to go. I'm going.
No, it's hard to let me leave my couch for a sporting event at this point. They've done nothing to make it more appealing. Everything about attending these events has become harder between parking and concession and how long it takes, the hours of it. Like it's much easier to just stay home and watch more than one event too. I can't watch more than one event while I'm there. I can't imagine this really overcoming me for anything. Is there an event you would want to see? Like, how many Duke Final Fours do they have to go without before you become this desperate? Like, you're getting rewarded pretty frequently here.
16 years is a long time. I think it should also be mentioned as you go more down the article. It was that he stole some stuff. So it's thefts. It's thefts. So I'm not saying that that's an okay thing to do, but with all kind of the larger stuff we got going on, it's like, okay, this is what we're dealing with here. Thefts. They brought him to prison. This is including being on the run for 16 years. His sentence is 11 months and 7 days. I just would have thought if you stole some stuff and then you avoided capture for 16 years, that it would just be longer than that.
Really? You don't think there's time served somewhere in there? Do you think that was a peaceful 16 years on the run? Looking over your shoulder?
No, it's not time served. You were out free. It's just more of like how short was the sentence if he had just did the thefts? Oh, you caught me. All right, let's just get this taken care of. And then he wouldn't have had to look over his shoulder. He could have gone to multiple Olympics and seen his team play. I'm assuming. I don't really know how good the team is at hockey.
So you're saying this didn't work out for him? Because I think it worked out for him, it sounds like.
He didn't even get to the game. I think if he had gotten to the game and was arrested immediately afterwards, then it's okay, this guy's really committed. But now it just seems like, well, committed, but you didn't even make it to the game.
Yeah, but he also is only getting 11 months out of all of this, so isn't that still a win for him?
Well, now I'm wondering, okay, you got to go to prison. That doesn't sound great. Maybe Slovakian prisons versus American prisons. I haven't done too much research, but is he going to be able to watch the games in prison?
I think it still worked out for him. There's a lot of teams that lost this past weekend. A lot of athletes that are struggling in the Olympics that are just trying to get a win. This guy, it doesn't seem like a win, but I feel like ultimately in the long run of things, for being on the run that long and then only having to go away for this short amount of a time, I think that sounds like a fair deal to me. Am I wrong with that? You think this is unfair? You want more time added to him?
I don't know what he stole. I need more information before I decide.
All right. Well, we had NBA All-Star Weekend happen. I think it happened. If you were awake in the daytime, you could have watched it. If you were awake in the West Coast, it was basically a morning game. A lot of people are upset with the time frame of all this, and I'm like, well, who cared anyways? Like, if anything, it was over by the time you tuned in to watch it, and then who is watching this without the ability to rewind and complaining about it? So, like, if anything, you wanted this to be a main broadcast sort of time, just watch it in the same window without commercials and fast forward through all the stuff you're going to complain about anyways. I was okay with the timing of it. I didn't have a problem with it. I know you seem to avoid most of all of this because I didn't have much of an interest, but it was on for me. Was it on for you?
I did not have it on. I was surprised when I had the quad box going and something changed, and then I saw that they were doing the all the extra intros, and I look down. I go, it's like 5 o'clock. It's early, like it's afternoon. I would have assumed if you had asked me. I didn't look this up. I had no interest in watching it. Really, any of it. Started doing that last year, and I figured this was the better thing than to keep complaining about it. If this was the product they were going to roll out, but I wouldn't have guessed once it kind of got to that point. It was, oh well, that's right. The Olympics are going on, and still was, wow. The All-Star game has fallen so far that NBC would rather have tape delayed Olympics on at primetime than the All-Star game. It's like, okay, that's what we've gotten. Fine. And it is a Sunday. First Sunday with no football, for months and months and months now. So I don't think there was a lot of competition. You had the Daytona 500, a little bit of college basketball, not too much. But about midway through, my dad actually got a hold of me and said, "Hey, are you watching the All-Star game?" I said, No, I'm not watching it. He said, "Well, it's actually been pretty good. I think you should tune in." Now, unfortunately for me, I tuned in after the first 3 games. There was overtime. There was U.S. versus World. One possession games, all 3 of them, and I signed up for the 4th game. That was, or the last game, almost the 4th or the 5th, but was not competitive. But from what I did see, it was at least close to basketball. What I had been seeing the past few years before this was there was a basketball out there. There were basketball players out there, but there was no defense. Like nothing. It's like, well, what are we even? I don't get this. At least from what I saw, even though it was a blowout. Like guys were in at least a little bit of a defensive stance. There were fouls that happened. It was just it was watchable. Where for a while it has not been watchable. So, the question for you is, why? What changed this year?
They made the game shorter, so the game couldn't get far away from anyone. They made it a target sort of finish, so both teams know what they have to do to prevent the other team from reaching there and slow them down as much as they can. So I thought that.
Oh, so the early games were a target score?
I believe so, or at least they ultimately finished that way, or at least felt that way. It was basically felt like.
Oh, okay, because the last one was it started with 12 minutes, so I'm not sure. I mean, as soon as this was announced, it was just again, it's like they're changing the format. Where in the past I tried to look it up, but this time I didn't even bother. I didn't even bother with it.
I had it on the side screen without the volume on, and multiple times once it got to kind of next point wins, which is ultimately what you want to happen in all of these. And I think the idea of having smaller games was they were more like pickup games that do end with, hey, next win by 2, next basket kind of win sort of situation here. That's what we got.
Isn't that a problem though? That you are taking the best players, and the thing that makes it better is to go with like the worst version of basketball, or I guess like the worst played version of basketball. I play pickup. I can't play in an NBA game. Why are NBA guys playing pickup?
If you could choose between your pickup style and like an officiated 5-on-5 NBA style, you would choose that over 1s and 2s?
It seems a lot more official.
But you've never played that way. At least not since high school.
I mean, I played in organized basketball.
You guys are playing 2s and 3s in organized ball?
All right, now I'm not understanding the question. I'm saying why is that exciting to bring it to, like, because I've heard this mentioned a couple of times before, like, oh yeah, shorter kind of had more of a pickup feel to it. It's like, well, why? That doesn't seem good to me, like right off the bat. So just explain that to me.
Why pickup is because it's not a real game. These aren't their teammates. This is like pickup. These guys just are getting on the court together. They don't have a practice. There's not a strategy. There's no chemistry. This is literally a pickup game. I think it replicates that way more often, and it's a pickup game with stars. It's a pickup game where you're looking down the draft, and it's not like, oh my God, I can't believe we got stuck with him. And our team is going to be something because we're getting either all of this or all of that. Like that's what this is. And I thought that's what it kind of delivered as. It was oddly competitive for some guys that I didn't know. I mean, I kind of expected Wemby to be competitive, and his athleticism just being on the court with all of those other guys on the court is crazy. Nobody's ever tried that hard with that many names on the court at the same time. Like, I don't even think an Olympic game has had a guy try that hard. The guy's crazy. Wemby's one of one, but the real takeaway was Kawhi Leonard's effort. That came out of nowhere for me. I know that we're in the Clippers arena, and say what you want about how he represents that team or whether or not they want him to represent that team. He showed up and got hot and had one of the best streaks, I think, of any All-Star weekend you could have, man. That's a lot of points in a short amount of time. mini game or not. I thought those two showed up, and those two would have showed up in a longer game, and I think would have been remembered the same way. Do you think we just didn't make chase down blocks like worth more points? Because we had a lot of that in this game, and I feel like that was, oh look, they're playing defense, and it is exciting. I have no problem with it, but if we just made those like, I don't know, worth 1 point, are we like happier about the kind of mediocre defense?
I think the chase down blocks are fun. You don't need to add a point system to it. They're already cool. You're already erasing points for the offense. So I like that.
But you can't do
Ant
that
came in and
half-assed,
said,
is what I'm saying.
during his MVP,
You have to try for a chase down block, don't you?
you have to commit for sure. Yeah.
So my idea of,
That's why I don't think you need extra points for it.
well, we can't get him to commit. We want him to commit to defense. Well, I'll make, if I'm going to commit to defense, it's a bribery of defense in a game of which they just don't want to do it, and they don't want to foul, and they don't want to get hurt. It's like, well, I'll give you 1 extra point for risking it tonight. How about that?
It's not for me.
It's never going to be
Not
for
for
you. There's nothing I could sell you on this. All right? Do you want to move on then? We can move on to the
I'm
other
telling
thing
you.
the league is
I'm
complaining
telling
about.
you, it is so easy. It
It's
is
never
so easy.
gonna
You
work.
just have to try. That's all. That's it.
It's never going to be
It's
easy.
very simple. I don't know how they figure out how to get from A to B, but all it is just a try. And there was more trying last night. It made me, think about maybe for next year, if this is going to be what you're going to put out there, that's more interesting for me. I'm not expecting Olympics level. You're playing for your country. It is not going to be like hockey. These are different types of athletes. It's a different sport. That I'm fine with. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for try. It's a much lower bar. And for a while, they could not even get to there. And so I wasn't going to waste my time. There's plenty of other things to watch.
I enjoyed the 3-point contest. I love that Damian Lillard was in it. Damian Lillard won.
The guy with the broken ACL?
Yep, Lillard won.
Or Achilles?
Achilles, who hasn't played a game this season.
Oh, does it make you feel better about Tatum coming back? Look at this guy.
Honestly,
he's way older, and he just won the 3-point contest.
First of all, this contest was awesome. Nobody's going to remember it because it was on 5 o'clock in the afternoon and felt like the opening to some show that was going to happen eventually that never actually happened. The first thing, Khan comes out and has like 29, which generally I think in the 3-point contest, like only a couple people go really over 25 and maybe one person hits 30. There was like 3-4 guys in the first round that were just hot like that. And then the last round, Lillard just continues. Lillard was on fire, and I was happy for him because if I'm him, this is the only thing I've been able to compete in for so long. He's won this contest before. I thought it was great to have him. You mentioned Tatum. Why wasn't he in this? Are you concerned that he wasn't in it? Because this would have been a good look for him, too.
No, it would not. It would not be a good look for him.
Why not?
Dame is going to come back and play for the Trailblazers. They're nowhere near where they need to be. He's going to have a nice little fond, farewell going back to Portland. Good for him. Good story. It's not real. It's not legit. They're not for real. The Celtics are contenders. We want Tatum to come back, not playing in this sideshow. He's got to work on his rehab. He's got to be on TV. He's doing a TV show. Let him focus on that. He doesn't need to be playing here. There's plenty of opportunities for the dunk contest. Like nobody wants to do it. There's still plenty of guys that want to play in the or want to do the 3-point competition. Go do that.
NBC could have aired. NBC could have aired all the stuff all the marketing they already have, all the marketing they've already maneuvered to get Tatum's debut scheduled for them. This 3-point contest was still on NBC. I don't see any shame in him doing it. I would have loved to see him out there. This is about the only thing he should be trusted to be doing at this point, but he seems to be on pace to be playing 5-on-5 very soon. But all right, you think he's going to play like in 2 weeks, but he couldn't do a shoot around an All-Star weekend for, a half hour.
I'm not saying that he could not. I am saying that he should not be messing around with these sideshows. He should be focused on his team. Not on this other thing that nobody really cares about. And I think he would have been fine. He for sure could have done this today, but this weekend. But that's not the most important thing. That's not what's to be focused on.
Well, once again, I thought that was the best thing of the weekend. The game was fine. The Wemby Kawhi thing was cool, but the 3-point shooting.
What do you think about
that?
Chris Paul and Wemby destroyed the skills competition. They cheated at it last year, or they tried to bend the rules at least. And then afterwards, NBA said, all right, you know what? We're just done with this. It was on life support for a long time, and it's done.
in a weekend where we're already like, how do we get guys to try? And you have a situation like that where they've just said, no, we just want to win and not try. It's like, what? No, that's you just can't have this. All right, we're already trying to convince them to try in an actual basketball game. How the hell are we going to get them to try in a contest like this and explain the rules? Are like, no, you have to make real attempts. You can't just open the ball and roll it on the floor towards the hoop and say you took a jump shot to speed the time up. It's Chris Paul at his best. It's I mean, now that he's officially retired, I don't know. We need to come up with something for him. There's got to be an NBA job to have Chris Paul just be in the league some way or another because we need more things like that. I think we need more stories like this. He could bring it back. Can he bring it back? We could have him just run that. Maybe he can be the officiating every All-Star for the skills challenge.
Not next year. I think the entire league was pretty clear on we are good with Chris Paul. He was in the league for a long time, a lot of accolades. I think that in a little bit, when things cool down, but for right now, just go away. It's unfortunate. This is the way that it went out of supposed to go back to the Clippers and then only play 16 games. It was not good. Nothing about it seemed fun for anybody, especially after last year playing all 82 games. And you just kind of thought, all right, well, that's a little crazy, but like there'll be something of it's going to be a little bit of a drive off into the sunset, and that did not happen. So too bad for him, but I don't think a lot of guys really get that opportunity.
All right, we'll continue with the NBA topics here and talk about the apparent national concern for NBA tanking. I don't understand the outrage, or I don't even know if it's real or if we've just decided we don't have football anymore. We have to figure out something to complain about. It seems to me we always have bad teams every year, Zach, and yet this year we care about all these bad teams. Like, who's fighting for all these franchises? What is the injustice that is being done all of a sudden that has just alarmed everybody to suddenly have a problem with everything about all of this? Explain it to me. What's wrong?
So this is the problem, and I don't have solutions for this, but I'll at least lay out the problem, is that basketball is second to football. We have football all the time. Awesome. Super Bowl happens. Then what immediately happens after the Super Bowl is this is like the prime time for it's no longer, we're tanking. Wink, wink. It's we're tanking. Like you're saying it out loud, and so you have a bunch of casuals that are coming in, and not only that, it's like your casuals are coming in, and what's the first thing that happens is there's like 2 or 3 games, and then we're going to the All-Star game, which maybe that's better for casuals. To me, I would think you would want almost like a Christmas Day type lineup on this Saturday, the first Saturday with no football, but they don't want to do that. They think this is the best one where I'm watching this and I'm on the same like social media circles that I'm normally in, but it's like a totally different situation. It's very weird. Kind of already talked all about the All-Star thing and everything, so we're moving on. But the problem is that the teams are being too blatant about it. And that's basically what Adam Silver came out and said this week. A lot of media. And so I don't think that this is some sort of awful problem that's going to, destroy the league. I think that they have to continue to monitor this. I think Silver coming in and fining the Jazz and the Pacers for what they're doing is, okay, so we want to sit our guys. You guys don't want us to do that. So now we're going to play him the first 3 quarters and then not the last quarter. And then being pretty blatant about it. So I think that the way they're doing it, of Silver just saying, like, here's a shot across the bow. You guys want to keep tanking? Cool. You want to be blatant about it? Cool. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. Here's a hefty fine. Owner can decide, do they want to continue tanking or do they at least want to be sneaky about it? I think they're just going to go the sneaky route with it. They're just going to find some more legitimate injuries or injuries that you can't argue and say, oh, I don't know, like you could have played. It's like, well, you played the first 3 quarters. Now you play the 4th, and now you've done this 4 times in a row. It's too blatant. So you just can't be blatant about it.
Part of the playing the first 3 quarters is that I believe there's a rule on a minutes that they want guys to play, not just, did they play? And to my understanding is they're hitting that minute restriction with those 3 quarters still. And that the NBA shouldn't really have any way of punishing them. But there is a awful look to this that is just not all right. I'd rather you just not play at all. That's not good for the fans, and there's just too many of these games that just don't matter. But this isn't a new problem. It is a problem with the NBA. I'm not like acknowledging as if it isn't something that we should be talking about, that I would love to fix, or if there was a solution, we should do it. But this doesn't seem new to me. Like, there has always been bad teams. We've certainly had worse situations than any of this right now. There's teams that were terrible years ago that are competing now that this is still kind of working, is what I'm saying. The bad teams are always going to be bad teams. And it's not any system in the world that's going to change it. I give you the number one pick every year. If you're not good at drafting, you're not good at drafting. If you're not good at signing guys, or if you keep signing guys with bad contracts, I can't fix this league for you to not make those sort of mistakes. There are teams that are good at this. There are teams that aren't good at this. There's always going to be that way. If you're at the bottom, eventually maybe you'll get lucky enough, and some miraculous Wembanyama will just fall into your lap, and your franchise will be changed for a lifetime. But until that thing comes back around, or until you get another Steph Curry, you might be a bad team for a really long time. And that's just what it's going to be. And sometimes those teams are bad. They're in the league, and you just have a lot of bad teams in the league. I think we should trade, if we're going to make one change, move the trade deadline later in the year, because it does seem like once the trade deadline's over, there's no more moves that are able to be made, and you're locked into with the decisions you've made after that, which if you've decided to tank, you decided to tank since after the trade deadline. If we had the trade deadline keep going on, it's almost like, well, maybe we'll make a move at the trade deadline, whether we were tanking or not tanking. I just think then it's not such a, your season's over after all of this, because there's no more moves that can be made, and we've decided the direction we're going in. If we move that farther back, I think we can maybe at least delay the feeling of all that. But I say that as if, like, these teams, Indiana and Utah, who are guilty of all of this terrible tanking in the fourth quarter here, were some of the most active teams at the trade deadline. So I don't know what that changes really. I don't have a very good solution. Would you be interested in some sort of elimination process of all this? Say, like, after the trade deadline, if you are a tanking team, you fall into a tanking league, and that everyone else that isn't tanking,
we're getting way more creative. No.
Why not? Why not?
No, we're making this way more complicated than it needs to be. Like you said, this is not something that's brand new. This is just, it's coming up because there's been some teams that have been very blatant about it. I think that in the past, you're exactly right, that there have been probably teams that have been worse, but they didn't say it. So there's like a part of this. It's like you show up to work, and you kind of quiet quit. You're not really doing anything. It's not the best, but you can get away with it for a lot longer. When you show up to work and you're disheveled, and you're not wearing the right work attire, you show up like in a bathing suit, you start mouthing off to your boss, that's not going to last that long. That's where Silver had to come in and go, all right, you gotta be cooler about this. I think that in the past few years they did flatten the odds, so you could be really bad, but it makes no sense to be like really, really bad. So I don't know exactly why the teams are doing that. It's like, if you're in the bottom three, that's equal. It's equal all the way across. Now, for sure, there is some levels to your pick. And if you've given your pick or your protections, you want to stay away from that, from that danger zone. But I think it's going to figure itself out. And I think the NBA isn't so mad about this. I think that they're glad that this is the talk that everyone's going on about, and not about a team that's accused of circumnavigating the salary cap.
That's very inspiring of you to bring up. There's nothing that's ever going to come from it. You got your one announcement from it that he's still investigating and that is ongoing, and you're never going to hear about it again.
A lot of paperwork.
He's never going to talk about it again.
A lot of stuff to look into.
You will never see anything come from it. Pablo's just going to keep coming out with more stuff.
I'm waiting for when Pablo comes out with how Kawhi played so well in this All-Star game. I'm wondering who kind of slipped some more money on the side. Said, hey, if you play really well, you can get some more money. Here you go.
We can wait. There's more coming. There was another podcast recently. This more recent podcast just had. It was more of like the original LLCs of Kawhi Leonard were investigated in this, and it goes farther back to the recruiting him, which I believe the Clippers were already fined for tampering and the acquiring of him and Paul George. There was a fine, and I think they lost a draft pick or something. That was years ago, right? Like that. Did that happen? Something like that happened. So like, this isn't new news. it's
So
not.
we actually lost a draft pick.
I think they actually lost like a draft pick one year. So it's not new news of it, but what it's investigating is it's a very. He named all his LLCs like KL2, KL2, inspiration, KL2. Like they're all KL2 something, and they're all. It's just a really embarrassing line of connecting some dots and some things that just shouldn't be connected so easily. Like if you're good at hiding all of this, you just wouldn't do it that way in my mind. But that's hardly any new information on this inspiration, or whatever company it is of Kawhi Leonard trying to plant trees and never actually working for them. That there's not going to be anything, man. Nothing's going to happen. What would make you happy at this
That's
point?
what I'm saying. To me, this is a bigger issue than the tanking.
Yeah, I don't think the tanking's really that big of a problem. I would be fine with the sort of in-season regulation, though. You poo-pooed it already, but after the trade deadline, if you're either in or you're out, I'd rather let's just put all the teams that are out and make them play every night together, make their tickets all discount pricing, because that's the other thing that stinks is when these teams go visit these other teams, that's a terrible game to pay for to go, man. That's not fun. That's not fun to
Don't
watch.
go.
Don't go. No, they're not trying to make you go. I'm not telling you to
Yeah,
go.
don't go.
But I'm saying, what if all the good teams had to play each other most of the nights, and then you might feel a bit more comfortable going.
You know what that's called? Will, that's called the playoffs. We already do that.
We build up more and more. And then you know what else? All those teams that are out, make them play for the number one pick. There you go. There's your draft. That's how you redo the draft.
How is that? How is that going to work? So you're going to make the players play for the replacement?
Yep.
What why would you try hard to be like, yes, let's get Cam Boozer in here. I would love if he was around and then I have to compete with him for minutes and money.
Yeah. So then it's more important than the coaching then. That sounds like you're in a really tough position and you got to be careful who you hire. Sounds better than the coaching you got to do now, where it's like, hey, I'm just going to bench my guys, make up injuries, and then have to do these awful press conferences after where I argue that like we're going in the right direction, just 82 games at a time.
Would you like to hear the crazy idea that I heard to solve this?
Yes.
This is from a Celtics blog from like 15 years ago. So I don't know how you really do it like year 0, but like year 1. So this year, if you're the Jazz, you tank big time. Rather than get the number 1 pick next year, you get the first pick of the guy's draft or the team's drafts for next year. So you go and look and you go, yeah, give me the Wizards. So now throughout the whole season, you have like this little mini rivalry with whoever team your team picked in the draft to root against.
You think it would work?
I think it's ridiculous. It's complicated. I think it would be fun to have like a little mini rivalry, and then that way, then there's no reason for you as a fan to root for your team to lose, and like there's no reason for your team to lose. I guess unless you traded for that team's pick somehow. I don't know. It'd be confusing. You're traded for your own pick. I guess that'd be possible, but that would be a much less likely situation. So, as a crazy idea, I liked it. I don't think it would ever be implemented, but I was like, oh well, yeah. You're rooting for somebody. You're rooting against somebody else every night.
Do you think the league? Let's just say you're a terrible team and you're a terrible team for a couple years in a row. If the league took away your draft pick, or at least said you're no longer in control of your draft pick, we're going to assign the player to you that we think is going to help you the best, because that's ultimately what we're trying to do here. Where you failed so many times that we're just going to do this for you. Do you think the league could be good enough at drafting, or at least you think
no
that this would work?
No,
they would get this wrong,
no.
and then they would get killed, right? It just would. They wouldn't live it down.
It would be even worse. These teams are not drafting poorly on purpose. They're doing their absolute best at this. So to take that away from them and then put it into somebody else's hands, that just seems that seems worse.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix it. And
then there's all these rigged, discussions and oh well, you messed it up for, and this could be complete random, but when the Lakers get a good guy and Charlotte gets the bad guy, even though it could be like consensus, it's not going to look great for the league.
Yeah, I don't know. Markelle Fultz and Jason Tatum. It's like what? How did the league screw that up? We all picked Fultz as the one, and then that would just blow up all of that. But I don't know how else to do this, because we have to. We're doing this to make these bad teams better, and they're not getting better. and they just want to continue being bad because that's the way the league is set up for them to get better.
But
It's a bad cycle.
That's just. I mean, that's capitalism. I mean, that's just
Sure.
how the world works. If you're not good, if you don't put good people in place, and you continue to do the bad things, that's what's going to happen. Is you're not going to be successful. Like I think there's this thought that the good teams, it's just like it's magic. It's like, oh wow, like they just do like a really good job. It's like no, they hired the right people. They had a plan in place. They stuck with the plan, and there is for sure some amount of luck. The same thing with everything. But there are companies that are successful and there are companies that are not successful. It's just that with the NBA, there is no relegation. There's no you can't go beyond a certain level and you can't go below a certain level.
Do you think if you put Wembanyama on the Utah Jazz, would they be tanking this year?
No. Maybe. I don't know. Spurs kind of tanked last year, right?
Yeah, kind of, right? But they also kind of almost made the playoffs, which Utah just hasn't. Right? Like
and I don't really blame that's why I like what this is of how Silver did it, which is like, hey, this is too blatant. Here's some fines, and didn't need to get so worried about like the exact rules. It was just like, hey, you're hurting the game. We're just gonna fine you. Please don't do this again. And we'll see if it actually has an impact. That came pretty much, hasn't been like any actual games, but as teams, like I can't fault them. If these are the rules you put into place, and if you think this is the best way to create a championship team, I'm not so sure about that. Like you're playing within the rules. And so I can't be like too upset with these teams trying to do this. I don't think there's any teams, if you go back far enough, that can say they're like clean and have never gone the tanking route.
All right, you want to talk about something that's actually bothering me in basketball?
Yes, I would love to. Actual basketball.
It's actually not actual basketball. The fighting in basketball.
Ugh, it's so close.
So you were so close. We could almost talk basketball, but the fighting in basketball, and not even the NBA basketball. The NBA basketball fighting, I almost thought made sense. All right, it was a physical game. Guys were getting each other's. I don't love Beef Stew coming off the sideline, or at least my understanding.
Like a madman.
My understanding of guys coming off the sideline is like you just risked it all, because me growing up, that's anybody who did that. There was a playoff game where we suspended guys. Like, I just don't know how to rewind all that. This is like a real radicalization of the rules in my mind that perhaps I'm just an old head. It just can't accept it, because I thought the second I saw somebody come off the bench, he's done for the year. Like, that's just, you can't do that. And then this guy, Beef Stew, I'm sorry to say this, but doesn't exactly have the cleanest resume, or at least has a reputation of being kind of a ruckus, and delivered exactly as his reputation was supposed to be. I just thought the suspensions were kind of light in all this, and I thought these fights were almost justified. I just would have suspended them longer. My real beef was the college basketball fight, because those were dirty plays. The Johnnies in Providence, the guy's going up for a layup and he just grabs him by the neck from behind, doesn't go for the ball. What are we doing? What is that? On a fast break while a guy's in the air? That wasn't the only time it happened. It happened again like later in the same game where you had another guy hit him from behind while he's in the air. Who is doing this sort of stuff? Who wants to play with players like that? Who wants to be on a fast break and say, you know what, I was thinking about dunking it, like all the fans want to see me do it, but I'm not going to do this because this guy from behind me might end my whole career and paralyze me. We have to get rid of that kind of stuff. We can't have that. Who wants to play in a league like that? And that's why you have fighting. That's a real reason to have fighting too, by the way. I have no problem with all their players clearing off the bench for that, because you hit my guy out of the air and then this happens again. Yeah, we're not going to be all right with this, because I actually feel endangered at this point, and I think that's a justified reason to fight. Any thoughts on my rant?
I would much rather have the fight that happened in the NBA game than to have the fight that happened in the college game, because exactly what you said. Guys up in the air. What's weird is it's Providence, St. John's. Bryce Hopkins, playing for St. John's, used to play for Providence, but not even with the guy that hit him, Duncan Powell. And also, the coach at that point was different. So it's like, I could see if like maybe like defending a teammate from like before, or if there was bad blood there. But the stuff where fast break layups is like, you can't do that. Like, that gets you ejected. He got suspended for 4 games. You got to sit. Like, how often do you hear about suspensions in college basketball? I mean,
Why do we want him back?
Fears didn't get.
What is that going to
Fears didn't
teach
get
him?
suspended.
You think that's a teachable moment? You think this guy? You want to play basketball with this guy after 4 games being suspended? I don't want to be in a league with this guy.
I don't think it's up to you.
You don't think that's fair though? That we have a guy that's not going for the ball on fast breaks, and we're just going to give him 4 games and good luck some road down the way. Like this is I don't know.
What do you think? You think he's gonna keep doing this again? They keep letting Fears play. He's kicking people in the dick.
I don't think Fears had any interest in hurting anybody as much as this guy did, or at least hasn't succeeded in that.
It's different levels. I don't know this guy's history, and Fears is just he's just a easy guy to pick on just because it's been more recent.
I'll give you
I haven't heard this come up before. I mean, for sure, he's playing for Providence, so Providence isn't on TV nearly as much as these other teams.
The Fears one, I will give you that there's certainly intent, and that is just as dangerous. This guy actually executed it, though, man. Like he took this guy out by the head from the neck behind. Like Fears.
So you want him excommunicated from basketball? He can never set foot on a court again.
You think you think this is forgivable? You think this is you would play on the court with this? You'd be all right with your Duke guys being on the court with a guy like that? You're okay?
Would it be my favorite? No, I don't think he's going to do this again.
All right, I do. To me, that like this doesn't even seem like a rivalry game. Like I don't even know what the beef was. We're trying to connect strings here. To me, this guy just was a loose cannon. I don't think it had anything to do with any personal thing or all that. I think he just got a rough call on the other end, didn't like this guy, and just took him out and saw an awesome opportunity to do it, of which nobody ever does that. That's so dangerous.
That's where when you let into this saying all the fighting. I can't think of like the last time I saw a big college brawl like this. This is super unusual. This is not even like a once a year thing. This is like once every other, like every third year or something. So he's getting suspended. You can keep an eye on it, but I don't think this is something that we need to, look into too much farther. There's hundreds of games that are happening, and everyone's being cool playing normal basketball.
We got to protect the dunks, Zach.
If anything, it's probably better now because they're not causing these. They've fixed the charge block call. You don't have guys going underneath a guy driving to the hoop in these hard faults. That's been a huge help.
I want the dunks. Protect the dunks. These guys aren't going to go dunk if they think they're going to get taken out.
Yes, if we had a rash of these, then I would be standing higher on my soapbox here. But what was the last big fight before this?
No, it's not the fight. It's the dirty play that leads to a fight. That was actually a dirty play.
No, but that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like the last dirty play before this, where a guy got like knocked out of the air like this. I mean, the picture is so bad. I mean,
I love Michigan State. I love Jace Richardson, but that picture of him in the dunk contest was also just like, oh, that's terrible. That happened. He did that to himself voluntarily. That looks painful. Didn't love that look. That was a hard one.
Yeah, you're up in the air. It's scary up there.
Don't love all that. All right, can we talk? Well, do you want to talk actual college basketball, or should we talk about a coach that got fired from a bizarre press conference that I both understand and can't believe? Like this guy's both my hero and like I can't ever hire him. Like
I would like to talk both.
Well,
so which one do you want to start with?
Let's do Jerome Tang, and he was just fired. Was it Kansas State after a press conference of which to say he was critical of his players is really not summing it up. It was these guys don't deserve to wear this uniform, and more than likely or like for sure won't be wearing it next year. Is that enough of a summary?
One of those. That is like the headline highlight, and it's one of those things. I'm an adult. I've played at a much lower level, but you hear some stuff in the locker room, and then even like business. Like you hear stuff that happens kind of behind closed doors that is not getting outside of closed doors, and this like got all the way out of closed doors, where this almost seemed like. Yeah, I'm not going to be around here much longer. I am going to start airing how I feel because, players right under the bus.
They're not playing well. I believe they got? Like one win in the conference, maybe a couple wins on the year. Not going well. So the press conference, look, everyone's going to be frustrated. Who likes losing, right? Is there any scenario where this is forgivable though, or do you think this was a just reason for firing him? Because I believe. They're trying to get out of paying this coach now because they think this was cause, that this press conference was a reason to fire him. my first argument was like, he didn't lose enough games to fire him. Why would you even announce the press conference in any relation to the firing and not just say this guy has one win in the conference? What would you have done here? What do you think's gonna happen?
I think Jerome started off real hot. He gets to Kansas State, goes on a really nice run in the tournament, beats Kentucky, beats Michigan State, loses in the Elite Eight. So it's like, ooh, okay, like we got a guy. After that, it is just not. It's not been there. Under 500 the last 2 years in conference. You're in the Big 12, but it's got to be better than that. And then this year, like you said, only one win. The money thing is tricky because it seemed like he was pretty much like, I'm done, but also $18 million is a lot of money. So both for him, and this just is where like the lawyers get involved, and this is where I tune out of, I don't know him personally. And of course, for $18 million, yeah, the university is going to go in and go, yep, it was for cause. Give us our money back. Yeah, we're the big organization. We'll deal with the legal situation, because if we could save, $10 million, yeah, we're going to do that. So I think it has much more to do with the finances of it than if anyone actually believes this should be for cause or should not be for cause.
Would you be hesitant in hiring this coach after throwing all of the players under the bus in a season of which they have one win?
I think it's
not like a season of like, oh man, we blew a big game and it's all this one player's fault. Like, no, everyone sucked this whole year. We got one win. Like, I'm not saying it makes it okay.
I think it's a combination.
Yeah, all right.
It's a combination of not being able to keep it together in a press conference, and that's for sure happened to other guys before. He is in a power 4 school. I think that he will coach again, but I think it's going to be at a lower level. He's not going to be in the Big 12. This is going to be you're on ESPN Plus. You're not on the big ESPN.
All right, that's kind of big news. I mean, I guess it was going that direction anyways. Even you take this press conference out of it,
that's what I mean. Is like it's the press conference combined with you killed it your first year, and then it has just been like getting worse every year subsequently. So it just kind of works out, and I think that when this happens, this is the only D1 place that he's coached. So I think he's like still like a younger guy. So maybe it won't be immediately next year, but I think when you've at least had Big 12 experience at the lower levels, you're willing to take a guy like that.
All right, should we talk some actual college basketball?
Sure, there's lots of college basketball.
Lots of games. Anything stand out? I was going to give you a chance to do a little Duke recap for the week here, seeing how you've managed to stay successful this week, and Michigan State didn't.
Michigan State did not so much. Yeah, I don't know. Did you think Clemson was good coming into this?
No. Well, they weren't as bad as last year, but that's like a nice thing to say about a team that I don't take seriously.
Yeah, that's where they're ranked, but their advanced metrics aren't as good. So it seemed like something like when you see it, it's like, ooh, ranked matchup. But like coming into the game, it was Duke was at home, but it was a 13-point favorite. So it's like, well, it's a ranked game, but yeah, I would like for Duke to play a little bit better. Destroyed Pittsburgh at their place, but Pittsburgh is at the bottom of the ACC. So yeah, I Duke's got a big week this week. And so that's kind of what my focus is. I was more focused on Arizona, undefeated, and then loses back to back. One of them overtime, but both of the games, both against like legitimate opponents. And that Monday night game, Kansas like hasn't lost on Big Monday in like 1,000 years or something. And that place, Fog Allen, is like a known spot. It's one of the premier spots. That place was absolutely rocking. Some of those videos I saw on X kind of during the game, not even just from the broadcast, it was just like, oh man, this is a zoo going on right now.
Wisconsin's on a bit of a kill streak in the conference right now after taking down Illinois and then Michigan State.
What's your level of concern?
I'm only concerned about Michigan State because we gave up 92 points to Wisconsin. And then the worst part is that we had 71 points, and this wasn't even like our worst offensive output. This was our worst defensive showing. We just weren't getting stops, or at least Wisconsin was finding ways to just score on us. I'm more concerned that the defense wasn't great and that somehow Wisconsin unlocked that. think we're going to face better offenses than Wisconsin, but I could be wrong. They seem to be on a bit of a run. Nebraska did a similar thing to us. I thought very, very similar loss that we had to them, where a home team just came out to us and we couldn't get the stops and just kept scoring on us. There are games really where we just can't score, and I'm all right losing that. That's our clear weakness. But the games where we give up a bunch of points and our clear strength didn't work, way more concerning. That's where we've lost a huge identity if we're giving up those sort of points. So a little mild of concern going into this week that I don't know. I felt really strong about our defense going in, and I thought we'd be able to hang in just about every game with everybody in this, but I don't know. Maybe we're not as good as I thought we were.
Lost 3 of your last 4. Last 2 wins are in overtime. I think the biggest concern is just that this loss to Wisconsin. It's not just it was to Wisconsin; it was by 20 points. Like the next worst loss is Michigan, by double digits, but like just barely double digits. Like Michigan is supposed to be like the tippity top. They're basically undisputed number 1 in the country right now. So that one, yeah.
Hey, Michigan played well that game.
At that level, mid January, but like this one, it's just like, ooh, these losses are starting to kind of add up here. I mean, this week should be a get right game or get right week for you at UCLA at your building and Ohio State at your building. So it's not the worst of the Big Ten, but these are teams that you should handle, especially at home, and kind of get back on track, and you kind of work your way back up in the rankings.
I hope none of those teams score the whole game. I hope Ohio State doesn't get a single point.
You have to play some defense.
I think we're capable of it. I'd like to see it again. Other college things to talk about?
I got to bring it up for you. Florida kills Kentucky. That's a 5-game win streak. So they started the year. They were preseason ranked number 2. I don't remember exactly when you crossed them off, but they the highest that they were ranked in KenPom was 16. That was back in December, and they've just kind of slowly been working their way back in the mix. And KenPom now has them at 5. Are you getting the eraser out, or are you sticking with your call?
Nope. I've seen the guard play. You're going to be able to pressure these guys in the tournament. They're not going to be able to survive. Their big men are awesome. They play great defense. They put a ton of pressure on the offensive glass, and they're really good shooters, both at the line and from deep. So they really can cause a lot of ruckus. But unless their guard play shoots well and controls the ball well, which I think they're kind of undersized over there, and I don't think they can consistently shoot if you really put a lot of pressure on them. Look, they're delivering, but who's the real defensive guys that they're running through right now? All right, give a defensive team. Let them play Michigan State or somebody who actually gets up in your junk and see what real pressure could be. Who plays defense in the SEC? It's a bunch of big athletes, but they're not playing defense. Like, who plays defense in the SEC?
I'll have to take a look real quick.
Go
here.
ahead. Find out.
It's gonna be. See, this is how it works. Florida is the one that plays defense.
That's why they're winning. They're the only ones that have a defensive back. That's it.
Yeah, Florida, Tennessee, not Alabama.
Watch St. John's play Florida. Let somebody who actually has ball pressure these guards in a game that it's a win or go home, and they're not at home. It's a neutral site. I'm not saying Florida's a bad team. I see a flaw there that you're trying to find something wrong with every team, right? When you're making
I'm just saying you crossed them off. KenPom has them at 5. That puts them, shouting distance from, being back in the Final Four. And once you're in the Final Four, anything can happen. So you're still keeping them crossed off. I'm monitoring the situation. I just want to get a temperature check here.
Michigan, Duke, Houston, maybe even Arizona. Better defenses.
Ooh. Will, do you know what 4 teams you just named right there?
Well, you're saying at KenPom that those guys are in the same conversation. I think they're not. I don't think Florida's in that conversation.
No, but those 4 teams above. Do you know what you just did? You just named the 4 teams. Those guys are playing each other this weekend. Clear your Saturday schedule. No skiing on Saturday at 3 o'clock. Excuse me. At 3 o'clock. Arizona at Houston, and then at 6:30, we're getting Michigan versus Duke on a neutral court in DC. So not even, I'd say that's pretty neutral, right? That's not like a semi, home game for one of those teams.
This will be better in the Final Four. We won't get this many good teams in the Final Four.
Some people are saying it, not me, but that is the marquee. You also have 3:30 Texas at Georgia at 6. UConn's going down to Villanova. Villanova's actually having a sneaky okay year. I think they could, start getting into the mix. And then at nighttime, if you want another late game, Iowa State at BYU. Yeah, Saturday is an awesome lineup. Anytime you're getting basically it's the top four. The top four teams are playing each other. According to or it's at least close. Top 5 teams for for the AP, for Ken Palm, for all the metrics.
All right, we didn't have any bets this week, so we're going to do over-under for all of basketball this next week. How many fights do we have between the NBA and college this week? Are we talking about fights next week?
0.
I have the under as well. I think we'll be back and don't have anything to worry about with all these matchups.
We'd have to really look for it.
It's going to be a good weekend. It's college basketball is delivering while the NBA is off until Thursday. And once Thursday resumes, it's maybe a couple new looks for some guys in new uniforms, finally getting maybe a little chemistry and maybe 1 or 2 practices. I don't know. We'll see what we got to talk about next week. I'm more excited for college basketball. I wish I could have something to lead into next week, but hopefully it'll just be the results of all these good games. Anything else for college basketball?
Just also want to just mention Purdue seems to be getting back on track. Two big road wins this week, and they came into the year and they've kind of stumbled, but I think you should be aware. Keep your eyes out for them. They're coming.
They still have the point guard. He's still going. Is he getting drafted?
I feel like I'm not hearing a lot of draft buzz from him, but there are a lot of good freshman guys that we've talked about. So yeah, I don't know if Braden Smith is an NBA guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to drop my stock in DeBonsa. I'm losing faith.
Oh, see, that's funny because I'm dropping my stock on Darren Peterson.
The stock of Darren Peterson is normal for me, though. Like, I think I can explain all of that. The DeBonsa one, I don't know. I just watching this guy getting pinned in double teams and not really do anything with it. And that's like a normal basketball sort of thing. But if you want to be like, a top pick in all of this, I think you got to handle that kind of stuff a little bit better. I trashed Cameron Boozer like last weekend. I don't think that there's a really good NBA sort of replication of success for him. I don't know what that really looks like, but he looks way more prepared and ready than the other 2 guys who are certainly higher potential. But Cam's going to at least be an adult, I think, almost immediately, and that's starting to feel a little bit more safer than what DeBounce is doing. All these guys deserve to be drafted where they are, but like I said, I think they all need more time. I don't know what they're going to do immediately in year 1, and I think you hope for a higher ceiling with these sort of guys in year 1, and I don't know if they're going to deliver. I already have started to re-rank all of them, though. I think I have Boozer 2 now and DeVonsa 3 at the moment. I still got Peterson 1, though. I still think he's the one I would take over all these guys.
I'm just getting concerned. It seems like it's kind of more off the court sort of stuff, and it's weird. It's just weird stuff is happening, and I feel like we've seen this sort of pattern before when there's just like weird stuff is happening in college. Like it can really slow you down, and then when you get to the NBA, and then after a couple of years, you go and look and go, well, remember stuff was weird in college. Like we were all there for that, but they were so good, or we thought their potential was so high that we just looked past it.
There's so much evidence there. I'm with you. There's definitely smoke. All right, you're not making all this stuff up. There's a pattern of this injuries and taking days off that really scares me with the trend that we've already talked about.
I'm not saying he's faking these injuries or anything. It's just it's weird. It's weird stuff.
It's new. I don't think we've had this situation in college. It translates to the NBA too well to the point where it's like he's already living an NBA life in college now, where he's taking nights off. He's got tendonitis, so he's not going to do this. And it sounds like he's already getting the luxury of the NBA of days off in college, and it's a little concerning. But there's also a chance that once this guy gets to the NBA, that none of those sort of things are going to matter anymore, and he's just going to play because he's good. I don't know. Maybe he's just not interested in college. Do you think there's a chance to be more interested in the NBA?
It's really tough to know, but it's just when it's not there in college, like the motor part, like you only have to play more games, and it's just a little odd that the Kansas team was able to beat Arizona without him. and I'm just interested, with those dynamics of your best guys out, and I think we see it more in the NBA when your best guys out. Sometimes other guys feel the need to step up, but it just seems like Peterson so often just isn't there, and it's not even like it's almost like some of the tanking stuff we talked about with the NBA. Of well, he's there for part of the game, but not the other part of the game, and I yeah I don't know.
I don't think the draft's as good as we want it to be. I think there's a lot to talk about with all these guys, and we want that high potential, but I don't. We're going to eventually talk about how bad the quarterback class is in the upcoming draft. I don't think this is a great, quarterback class for this NBA. You know what I mean? Like I don't think there's safe bets here. This has like that Markelle Fultz thing fishing around here. There's something suspicious with Darren Peterson that's got that Ben Simmons. Why is LSU not competing for the tournament sort of thing? And we want him to go one. I'm with you on that. There's something there, but I can't argue enough against it to go with the other guys right now either. I still would take him one. Oh, you would take someone else?
I'm going to be interested to see how it goes as we get to more important basketball time, where I get it. It's February. If you got the flu, you got the flu. It happens to all of us. You're sick. You can't play basketball. That's fine. And just maybe this is just like a string of bad things that come up. But if all of a sudden it's Friday and it's the semifinals for the conference tournament, and then you're only playing a half there, or you're not playing because you're sick that time. I don't know. Just I'm not gonna say that he doesn't care. I'm not gonna say he's got a bad motor. I'm just saying like it's weird. There's a mystery going on there, and I haven't figured it out.
I don't know if we're gonna figure it out. All right, moving on from college basketball, let's do a quick NFL recap here. We made bets all year. We told you bets every week. Sometimes we won, sometimes we lost. I believe you have the results and the totals. How did we do?
I do have the results. So after last year, I was up and you were down. It was a reversal. I lost just under 5 units. Could not get the traction this year. But you came in with winning 1.5 units. That Puka 2 touchdowns the first week of January at 7-1, really helping things out there.
And you would think
so that
with that
so
sort
that was
of
for
lead,
the year.
I'd make more. Like I still had got everything else wrong. I basically got one thing right. All right, what else?
So that was for the year. So if you took both of our bets, that was not the way to go. Hopefully, we'll do a little better, next year. But we really need to step up our game on the prop bets. I put 6 prop bets in. You put 5 prop bets in. We only won 1. I won the patch score last, and that was plus 114. For a while, it was close to me taking a victory lap on my $5 no touchdowns, 175-1, which I saw get all the way down to 9-1, which is still pretty far away. It turned out wasn't even close. But yeah, so next year we really need to step it up with our prop bets.
I hate the props. The props are hard. The idea that you're supposed to win those is just ridiculous. It's not easy. All right, other NFL news. Tyreek Hill's been dropped by the Miami Dolphins. I don't think this is as shocking as it should be. It seemed like that relationship is over. It seems like Miami doesn't even have a quarterback to throw the ball to him. This is fine. I'm more interested on where are we going from here. Do you want Tyreek on your team?
A little bit. I didn't think about that this morning, but once that came out, and just kind of thinking about it Drake is one of the best, best quarterbacks at throwing it deep. And, Tyreek Hill, if you get him going, and then you think, all right, but he's got some problems. He's got some off-field issues. He also is coming off an injury. But that's like, well, Diggs, came off an injury, and, he was pretty solid for us. And if we can get him at a discount, I think you might have to do it.
I'm with the discount idea. I'm with we've already had a guy that had some off the field issues.
Continues to have off the field issues.
The amount of things in common with these free agents that I'm pitching and almost begging the Patriots aside, it seems like bad karma. I don't know, but the opportunity's there, and generally the Patriots love opportunity cost. The right price for the right player is finally available. I'd like to be aggressive about this. Now, there's A.J. Brown rumors going left and right about that. I don't exactly know how we we managed to grab that. But the unhappiness is clear in Philadelphia. I just don't know what the price is going to be because unlike, Tyreek Hill, which we could just go get right now, we'd have to trade for AJ Brown, and I don't think they're going to be willing to give him up for just nothing. So there is an appealing side to all of this of doing that. But would you rather wait out and maybe make a trade than sign Tyreek for, I assume, a reasonable deal?
I I don't think I really want to give anything up for AJ Brown. It just he was never happy. They won a Super Bowl, and then the next year, it's like he was getting the ball not enough, or like they weren't winning. It didn't seem good. I don't know if we really want that for for a young quarterback. I'm just thinking for the Tyreek Hill, this is just like a flyer. I am not expecting Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs, Tyreek Hill. I'm expecting like a guy that can just, he helps the team out and doesn't destroy it. But this is not some or like he gets us, on his back to the Super Bowl. He's 31 years old. He tore his ACL in September, so he's probably not even starting this year. Maybe midway through the year he's coming back and probably on some sort of minutes or snap restriction like Diggs was last year. So this is a complete flyer. This is a lottery pick. This is not we get this guy and we're going to be set.
Do you think he burned too many bridges to go back to Kansas City and rehab with Mahomes and rebuild for a year after from now?
I don't think so. I'm not a Chiefs fan, but I think enough time has passed that even if there were some issues there, and especially if you kind of put it in that thought process of two of the guys, you have some rehab together, maybe that helps you and you're not rehabbing by yourself. I don't even know if that's possible, if that's something that you're able to do, but I think it's been long enough.
So we're just gonna forget the Tua is a more accurate quarterback than Mahomes, which nobody actually believed, but was
I
was said.
If Mahomes has been out of shape about that, he's a lot softer than I thought he was.
Totally fair. Totally fair. My mind.
You got to stick with your current quarterback. You want the ball.
My mind was that this is the first direction that everybody should go, and that he's not going to be ready next year. They're not going to be ready next year. They got one more shot at this one more time. I have no idea when we're going to hear a Kelsey sort of announcement or news of. I mean, is he coming back next year? I mean, I could see, they bring Tyreek and we do this all one more time. Get the band together. It's like a farewell tour, man. I think that makes sense to me more than anything else. But I've been shocked before with the amount of teams that suddenly can throw money at Tyreek Hill, just throw money at Tyreek Hill. So there might be some wild card out there that we're not even talking about that is like, oh, we could throw money. Let's throw money. I don't know who it is, but I wouldn't be shocked if someone else just came out and actually gave him money rather than this discount stuff that we're already pitching at him. Other NFL news, they tried to kill the team report cards. Is this Robert Kraft's doing, seeing how we've played in a bunch of Super Bowls and a bunch of playoff games and made him a bunch of money, and somehow we still do really bad in these report cards?
I was not seeing Kraft anywhere near this. I was seeing the Jets owner seemed to be the one that was most complaining about this, to the point that it was rumored that when these report cards would come out, rather than, which I think most owners would do, would go, oh, wow, I didn't even realize you guys wanted, daycare on game days, and realize that was something that was a main concern for you. Like, let me make sure we're like got the top of the line daycare system. That he would go the opposite way and go, oh, you guys didn't like this and you're losing? Well, no, you got to pay extra for lunch now. Double the price for lunch. So the NFL fired a grievance. So now the union is no longer allowed to publicize this. So they can't put it on their website. It does not mean that this won't get out. And I think this just means like they won this battle, but they're going to lose the war, because now they look bad for saying, oh, we don't want this getting out because it makes us look bad. And now someone's going to leak it. It's going to get out.
Hey, man, if you're a shitty landlord, it should get out. Why are we keeping this wrapped up? These guys are making billions off of all this, all right? The stuff they're trying to get away with that other guys aren't getting away with. Don't be cheap. It should be pointed out when you're cheap. All right, I'm fine with this. It's only costing them money, of which they've already made enough of it. What are we talking about here?
What I don't get is this just seems so easy. Of your employees are telling you exactly what's important to them and exactly what they would like to have changed, like detailed. Like there's a whole ranking system, and you can see where you rank versus the other organizations. If you're not sure, I go back to the daycare where you're 25th in the league. Well, go talk to the top 5 guys in the league, 5 owners, 5 organizations. Go, hey, what are you guys doing here? It just seems it's a salary cap league. You can only pay guys so much money. So here's a way you're not you're not like avoiding the salary cap, but if you can make things better for your employees, you have a better chance of signing them. Maybe not for a lot less money, but if it's equal money, I think you'd want to go to the organization with all things considered that has the better food. That's not nickel and diming you on laundry or whatever weird thing that you're not even thinking about that your employee is making difficult for you.
We've already talked about how going to these events live is so unappealing to a fan just on the cost alone. I don't want to hear that you're being cheap to the players, that you're also paying millions of dollars to. This isn't cool. Like my hot dog contribution didn't fix this. Like my $25 beer didn't go to this being resolved. Like I'd like to think that that's what this is going to, and I don't know where the dollar's going now. And it's just so unmotivating to spend the money for these sort of things at this point that I don't even want to hear about this kind of stuff. But it is stuff that should be pointed out. And
I'm the opposite. I want to hear about this stuff. I want to see the report cards. I want to know what organizations are doing things well and which ones aren't.
Robert Kraft's just a terrible example of it. You make the most money on playoff games. Who's had more playoff games than Robert Kraft?
I don't know if that's accurate, but I agree with spend some money.
All right, being an owner is not easy. Sometimes you got to sell the team because you were just a bad owner. Prime example, Michael Jordan in the Charlotte Hornets or Charlotte Bobcats. That's shaky history there. Now currently owner or a part of an ownership group, I assume, of a Daytona 500 team that won this weekend. Big success, right?
Huge success. I was watching the Daytona 500 in the in the quad box. I was watching some preseason F1 testing last week as that's getting closer. So it's like, NASCAR, that's pretty big in America. Let me take a look at this, see what this is all about. So just kind of had it on mute on the side, and I look up, and who's getting interviewed? It's Michael Jordan during the race. It's like this is weird. I'm not watching the All-Star game, but here's where Jordan is, and that's what he likes to do. And then when it got down to the last 3 laps, I put the sound on, and there was actually a pretty crazy ending. If you only have time for 3 laps, just watch the last 3 laps. And out of nowhere, it's Jordan's racer, Tyler Reddick, joined the team in 2022. And won the Daytona 500.
I'm happy you shouted out the driver because I did see mostly highlights of Jordan's team wins, and I just talked about how Kraft had nothing to do with all these Patriot wins, but to me, it's almost like, Robert Kraft wins is a headline I've never seen before, but I guess it's never been an owner quite like Michael Jordan. So I don't. Whose name should be first here? Do you got a problem with the headline saying Jordan team wins rather than your driver?
I don't have a problem specifically because I'm coming from the NBA side of it, not from the race side of it. So couldn't tell you anything about Tyler besides that he won the Daytona 500 yesterday, and the first time I heard of his name. So coming from my direction, it's Michael Jordan is uber famous. So it's got it starts with Jordan. That's what ropes you in. That's how I find out about who the actual driver is.
I'm not really interested in talking about the Michael Jordan controversy, but the Olympic curling controversy is so fascinating to me. There's trash talk, there's replay video, there's almost an entrapment sort of video of preparation is what you were telling me before the podcast. Tell me more about, what was it, Canada and was it Sweden?
Mostly Sweden, yes.
In their curling competition. What happened here to Canada?
So this is what's fun for me, like getting kind of into F1 where everything is brand new. So this is similar with this curling situation of I don't know anything about curling besides it comes on the Olympics, but like we know from watching basketball, like there are these certain rivalries. There are guys that don't like each other, like all the way back, and it could be from college days. But you have a feel for it. Where this is, I had no idea that Canada and Sweden kind of got a little bit of a rivalry. So Canada, I don't know if they've been officially accused of cheating in the past, but it sure seems like Sweden and there's a couple other countries that it's just like a default. Like, this is just what Canada does. And so I guess if you've been watching any of the curling, you have the guy that holds the rock and he pushes it forward and there's a line. And you're not allowed to push it past the line. You have to let go of it beforehand. Otherwise, it's a fault. But the handle has a sensor in it. So if you hold it past the line, sensor goes off, it's a fault. Whatever the penalty is, that's taken care of. But the Canadians are being accused of touching the actual rock underneath, which does not have a sensor in it. So they're getting a little extra spin or a little extra push a little bit past the line. And like you mentioned, Sweden has known this, that they set up a camera right where the release would be, which it seems like that's exactly what they're showing on the broadcast. So I'm not sure exactly what how that's different. But now the back and forth is they come out and say this. Canada, their guys came out, lot of profanity. I won't repeat it here. And now I feel like the Canadians are trying to get out of this. Now they're threatening Sweden, saying you filmed us illegally now. So it's just all this back and forth. It seems like the Olympics have not gotten involved yet. It will be interesting because I also learned that they consider this is crazy as an Olympic sport, but curling is kind of a gentleman's sport. I guess the closest comparison would be golf, where you kind of, for the most part, govern yourself. So they do have people in the arena to help out with measurement or if there's some sort of an argument. But really, you're supposed to take take care of this as gentlemen. So the fact that these guys are getting caught possibly cheating, it just kind of takes it to the next level. So I will definitely be interested to see in the next week or so if the Canadians get in any trouble for this.
So this was farther than just the men's competition. So you mentioned this were most of the main replays you're seeing right now are the men's competition, of which there was no punishment during the game. The argument happened and nothing really came for it until after the game where the replay got around and they clearly see the guy touching his finger with it past the line there. The women got caught during the game. The Canadian women team later got caught doing the same thing, but they caught him in the actual act, and I think it cost them a point. I don't remember what the penalty was. So this is far more than just this one incident. It is both Canadian teams.
And it's interesting because the mixed curling already happened. So I wonder if they'll be going back and reviewing that and seeing if there was any shenanigans going on there.
I don't have a solution for this. This seems like something where 15 years ago and in basketball it was like, no, we just need to have replay. It would fix everything. And it's like, does curling need replay? Because it would be so easy to patrol this sort of stuff. But it would also, the flow of curling I think is really nice. It's quick. We're keeping it moving. There's like tense little slowdown moments that then result in a lot happening. I enjoy all that. I do not want more replay. Replay ruined at least basketball for me. I don't know if it ruined all sports, but not really loving that. Anything else about the Olympics here? Would you should we close out with Inflategate? Is that all too graphic for our listeners?
That was all coming up before the Olympics, and I haven't heard anything during. So I'm much more interested in stuff that's currently happening, like this cheating possible scandal. But no, what roped me in over the weekend was the big ski jump. So I'm watching the big ski jump, and similar to the days before, where last podcast I mentioned, I looked up, where's the closest luge to me, or like the bobsled. So up in Lake Placid. I actually did find much closer to me that there is some ski jumping available. And now I don't think that I can make the Olympics, but I don't know. It really grabbed my attention of that looked fun. The trick ones, not fun. The mogul ones, not fun. This looked all right. So I even emailed the group saying, hey, I'm just a regular skier, but I'm watching this on the Olympics. I'm interested. They have not reached out to me yet. I'm interested to see if they get back to me. The problem, Will, though, is that in the meantime, I stopped drinking beers. And then today I was watching it. They had to cancel the third round. Usually there's 2 rounds. It was snowing too hard. This sport that is ridiculous. I should have no interest in doing it. I'm way too old for this. When I saw it with the snow, and it wasn't just a little flurry. It's like it was really snowing. I think I made a huge mistake even just emailing them.
You don't want to be flying in the air without being able to see, man. You don't know where the ground is.
Exactly. I don't think I've ever heard of an Olympic event getting canceled like this. I assumed it's like, oh, I must have misread it, or when I click on it farther, it's like, nope, this is too dangerous. We're not doing this. Whatever your scores were in the first 2 rounds, that's it.
Hey, man, if you wouldn't fly the chopper in it, you don't want to fly a ski in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. Yeah, I understand what's dangerous. They really soar. It's flying. It's flying hundreds of feet. Very impressive. Anything else with the Olympics before we get out of here? I'm going to play the music.
I am going to continue to watch it. I know the U.S. Women's hockey is doing great, and I know that the men's made it to the to the knockout round. So interested to watch that as that goes along.
Really enjoying the Gold Zone. Peacock app is working well. Firing that up kind of every day, just a little background. The Olympics are fun. They're just a perfect little mini games that I don't have to pay attention to. And then once it gets intense and you do pay attention to, it's very rewarding. And it obviously just means so much to everyone. Bunch of psycho competitors. These guys are crazy Olympians. We don't need to explain the deflate gate. Or inflate gate, not deflate gate. I don't know where to go with this. Let's go back to the NBA. No fights. What is Boston doing this week? It looks like NBC's kind of got a Tatum debut scheduled for them. They moved a game around, which allegedly Tatum's going to return at. Are you expecting anything?
No expectations. It made perfect sense for us to be a primetime game against the Sixers. We were just mentioning all the tanking that's going on. There were teams that thought were going to be better. There's been injuries. So this is the time of year when stuff gets flexed. So I don't think that they're going to be doing this because I wouldn't be so shocked if Tatum doesn't even know exactly when he's going to be coming back. So I think an organization could make some educated guesses. I think some people are making some educated guesses on buying tickets, but I don't think that Tatum has let the Celtics know, and the Celtics are letting the partners know so they can capitalize on this.
I think he's playing that night. I think it's locked in. I think we already know. We're the only ones that don't know. So, get ready for the debut. It's coming. Tatum's coming back. Remind everyone to subscribe. Little column A, little column B. You can follow us on our Instagram and wherever else you listen to your podcasts, as well as you can follow Zach on his X account, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
We'll be back next week. Big college basketball week.
Huge.
And less football talk. First week without football, and man, we are whiny NBA guys. Whiny NBA stuff. Hopefully we can fix that.
Little column A, little column B.